You know what's actually lower than thinking about all day, like on and off all day, thinking about what you're going to talk about today? It's talking about what you're going to talk about and the camera shuts off. This is take 2, by the way. Happy Tuesday, everybody. So yeah, this is the second take I'm doing of this. And now I don't think it's going to hit as emotionally hard as it did before. Darn it. Actually, you know what? I don't think that's going to be true, but still. It kind of bums me out I have to do this again. My high is, out of the blue, I got to see my brother, my sister-in-law, my nephews again. I got to play with my nephews for a little bit. I love using a Doppler effect sound, saying the names of one of my nephews to make him laugh. That's funny when I do that. And my act of kindness was I helped watch my nephews. I had my mom and my dad watch my nephews. And I also emptied out the dehumidifier for my father. So, considering I'm wearing this ring on an otherwise typical normal, what's supposed to be a normal typical day, it should probably tell you what I have is a little bit emotional. But I don't even know where to begin with this. When I was 6 years old, that was the first time I ever had an existential crisis. It was the very first time I had realized the finality that comes with death. I'll never forget when it happened. And I'll certainly never forget that my mom was there for me. So, fast forward to just a couple days ago, specifically Sunday night. And keep in mind, this literally was after one of the best weekends I think I've ever had this whole year. I mean, I went to my nephew's birthday party on Saturday. I went to the nicest person on the face of the Earth's planet on Saturday, or her birthday, I mean. Went to a dance party at the Swits. Sunday, I got to, play with my nephews. Got to ride in the boat for a little bit. Like, this is about as close to a perfect weekend as you should hope for, especially during the summer. And it's so funny how I have a weekend that great, and all of a sudden, I'm in my bathroom, getting ready for bed, stare at the mirror, look down at the sink, and then I realized again the finality that comes with death. Keep in mind, I didn't cry about it like I did, 27 years ago. But it really made me stop and think for a little bit. And understand, yeah, I suffer from depression and pragmatic communication disorder. But never in my entire life have any of my feelings ever legitimately emotionally crippled me or debilitated me. If there was something I had to do, or there was a big important event going on, I would put my emotions aside and focus on what was ahead of me. And believe it or not, a lot of times I felt a lot better when I did. Usually because it involved, doing a task, or maybe even doing something simple as running or working out, or maybe cooking food, or maybe it was a big party. And I worked my emotions out of me. In a healthy way, of course. But on Sunday night, as I was just staring down at my sink, thinking about death over and over again. And keep in mind, I'm not feeling bad. I feel fine. Nothing's wrong. Not going anywhere. I'm doing good. Doing okay. Life's not perfect, but that's okay. I was thinking to myself, I was 6 years old when I first realized that death was scary. And it would be just over 12 years later when I was contemplating how I was going to commit suicide. I was at the point where I was going to do it, I just didn't know how. And I thought it over. What would happen if my 6-year-old self met my 18-year-old self? What would they say to each other? How would that conversation go? Now, granted, my 6-year-old self wouldn't know the context of everything that my 18-year-old self had been through. My 6-year-old self wouldn't know that I got in trouble in 7th grade and my mom wouldn't know not to put me in special ed, which she did. He wouldn't know anything about he wouldn't know anything about the autism spectrum, whether I was properly diagnosed or in my case, misdiagnosed. He certainly wouldn't know about special ed existing. He certainly wouldn't know the ridicule that came with it. He certainly wouldn't know the rejection that comes from being in special ed, or much less knowing what holding a hand feels like, or not knowing what holding a hand feels like. And by the time I was done thinking it over, I was really glad that that was only a hypothetical. You know, come on, in what universe does your younger self meet your even younger self? You know? I mean, I guess there's that one Bruce Willis movie, The Kid, but yeah, I never saw that movie, so I don't know. So, right now, and I felt like, why did this happen? Why did all of a sudden thinking about death come over me? And then I guess it kind of hit me for, like, why that is. That made no sense at all. I guess I think I figured something out is what I meant to say. In 2021, I was finally given a proper diagnosis as to what specifically I have. And I'll be getting into more of this in December. But that was the first time I really felt as if I could breathe again. Yeah, I know, I'm diagnosed with pragmatic communication disorder and depression. But considering that 30 years I was always associated with anyone on the spectrum, on the autism spectrum, I mean, when it was very clear I'm not, it was just so liberating. It was as if I was finally given permission after 30 years, to be happy again. Keep in mind, I was 31 when this happened. I say 30 years because, I was diagnosed in Rochester, young. Again, I'll explain more of that when we get to December. For once, I was actually allowed to feel happy again. And when that happened, if it wasn't for the fact I was mad about the previous 30 years, I would have immediately started crying. Tears of joy, I mean. Oh, I was happy. Extremely happy. But there's just so much shit you have to go through, it kind of almost makes it no longer worth it. Because, this is something I didn't want to hear at age 31. I would have liked to hear that, in my teens. But, what can you do? My point is, I feel as if my emotions are kind of magnified, I guess. If that's even the right word for it. So, naturally, when I'm happy, I'm real happy. But man, I tell you what. When I feel sad, it really hits me. Again, not to the point where it's like crippling or debilitating, but it takes me a good while to get over something. I mean, what happened on July 29th? My heartbreak came full circle. I actually still think about that sometimes. The difference between then and now is I think about it less, and therefore I feel less sad about it. So I guess I can say I'm slowly but surely moving on. Again, it's a process. It takes time. You gotta respect the process. To have a sense of freedom, to be allowed to be happy, is a feeling that I don't think I could ever really describe in words. Just how great it is. However, to know heartbreak of that magnitude, or rejection of a similar magnitude, again, that's a feeling I couldn't possibly put into words. So, I guess emotionally that's where I'm at right now. I mean, don't worry, not contemplating about suicide. That's almost 15 years behind me. Not doing that. But there's something I've been hinting about doing for quite a while now. And considering everything I've been through, now is when I owe it to myself to go out and do it. It's going to take some careful planning, and a few things have to align properly to work. But if it goes wrong, yeah, it's going to be horrible. But it certainly won't be as bad as July 29th. And if it goes right, I think it's going to make everything worth it. I really think it'll at least make the last couple of weeks really special. Or worth it over. I mean, again, July 29th, that's quite literally the only truly bad day I've had. It was just so bad, I'm still thinking about it. Everything else that's happened since then has been great. I've been to a couple birthday parties, been to a few major events. I actually ran into my boy the other day at the illegal tap house. And he actually gave me some really good news. News that really helped boost my confidence in what I'm about to do soon, provided that it goes well. Let's just say one of my very best friends had bet me $20 that this thing I'm about to do is successful. I don't want to say what it is, not to give it away, although some people probably know what it is by now. But my best friend bet me $20 that I'm going to be successful at this thing. Because I've said before, I don't think I will be successful. Again, if it goes south, I can at least take some solace knowing it's not going to be as bad as what happened on July 29th. That's a good thing. But the more I think it over, I actually legitimately hope I lose that bet. I'm being serious. I hope that I lose that bet. In fact, full disclosure, I can't wait to private message my best friend asking him what his address is so I can mail him that $20. And if it goes south, hey, my best friend owes me $20. And I certainly have no reason to even think about death anymore. Yeah, it is kind of scary to think about what could happen if your 6-year-old self, who's afraid of death, and your 18-year-old self, who's contemplating suicide, met. Like, what would happen? But you know what? That's not the world we live in. I'm 33 years old. I may say I'm a grown man, and if there was ever a time to, prove it, it's coming up soon. But I still have a few days to prepare, so all I can do now is just take one day at a time. Sorry if this is a bit different from the usual fare of seeing me. It's just something I really wanted to talk about first. And, hey, you know what? There's a lot of good things to look forward to. I mean, Chuck Conroy's back to doing videos again, off of his little break or whatever. He's going to be doing videos from August 20th to August 29th. I'll put the links into his last 2 videos down below. But, yeah. Watch some Chuck Conroy. Hopefully I can see the movie Bottoms this week. It's not playing at the theater at my at the mall, so that's something I'm knowing about that. But I hope you all, are having a good day so far, whenever you're watching this. I do feel humbled that I made this video for all of you to watch and enjoy. I hope we have a wonderful Tuesday. And, I mean, listen, if you ever need to talk, I'm here. So, take care, make good choices, and as always, 607 all day, baby.